Hi friends, Mindy here. I want to share with you today the newest release from Michelle at the Junk Journal Studio. She has released a volume 2 of labels from days gone by. This is one of my favorite sets. It's just very, very versatile with all of the different kind of vintage tags and labels and things that are in here. And so I was going to flip through this really quickly, just kind of show you what's in here. And then I'm going to go do some fussy cutting, and then I'm going to create some ephemera, some tags or some pockets or tuck spots or something using these. And then I will show you that process. But I just wanted to kind of flip through. There are, as always, a lot of, I think this like ends up being, I think 20 pages or something like that. So I'm just going to kind of share with you, starting with page 1. So you have the larger size here, and then what she's done is, this is 1B, so you can see the sizes are just a little bit smaller, and I really love that because you can really change up your how you're doing, like if you're doing a tag or if you're creating a pocket or something and you just need something that's another size, you don't have to worry about kind of sizing it on your printer or whatever. So this is page 2 and page 2B. You get the idea. I'm just going to go through here really quickly so you can kind of see these, and I will go around and fussy cut these out and get them into my ephemera holder. I also like that there's some circles and some that are just kind of different shape, and then just a lot that you can do with these. So just gonna flip through all of these. There's one in here in particular that I really like. I don't think we've gotten there yet, but just a fun way to print these. And now I have printed these on some matte presentation paper, but you could certainly print these on coffee dyed paper. I have done that in the past actually, and it works really well to kind of give that aged sort of look, or you can just go around and distress them. And then I did run out of that presentation paper, so this is just some white cardstock, but you could certainly just do this on like a heavier weight printer paper. I wouldn't do like copy weight necessarily, but I did mine on just heavier weight paper just because I like that a little bit. And some of these are big enough that you could really use them even as tuck spots and stuff, and so I like them to be just a little bit sturdier. And then I will cut those out, and then if you haven't seen before, a while back I created this ephemera holder for my volume 1 of Days Gone By, or labels from Days Gone By. And so I will, I left myself space in the back of this one, so now I can add my volume 2 in here. But again, you can see like just the variety of sizes, and there are always a ton of pages in Michelle's kits, so I would encourage you to go over there and check it out. I will put her Etsy shop link in the description down below, and happy printing. They're just a lot of fun. Like I said, I'll come back and we'll create some ephemera or some pockets or something, some tags or whatever with these items once I get them cut out. Okay, so let me show you what I'm working with for right now. I used this paper pad. This is a very old paper pad from Michael's called Love Letters. It's the Recollections brand, and there are just some papers in here that, this is 12 by 12 paper. I just know I'm not going to use all of it, but I want to use the most of it that I can, so I don't feel like I'm wasting it before I recycle it or do something else with it. So what I've done is actually pulled out some of those pages and just cut out sections of the paper that I really loved, because the backside is just a plain craft cardstock, and so I will be able to use these for pockets or for journaling or for whatever. So the first thing I had done was I kind of isolated this image with these 3 butterflies, and it's got some like faux stitching down the side that's in red. So I'm simply taking a little, this is a Tim Holtz piece of ephemera, and I'm going to add this one little piece to it, and I'm going to call it good. I am going to round the corners just to make it a little bit more finished, and I am going to distress all of the edges. I am using archival ink in ground espresso for that, as opposed to using an actual distress like oxide or whatever. I like to use the archival because it will be permanent. And then I'm just going to go through here, and these are going to end up being either some pockets or some little like tuck spots. I had this one that had some foiling on it. A lot of the pages that were in this paper pad had like foiling or glitter or something. The glitter is just not my jam, so that's why I kind of cut out this other sections around the glittered part, but I really did like this one section that had this kind of gold foiling in it. And so I'm going to make this into a pocket. You can see I've already cut the thumb notch out of the top. I just used a circle punch to do that. And then I have these pieces of Tim Holtz ephemera. These are called layers, and these are the botanical ones. And so in here are a bunch of flowers and butterflies and different things. And so because of the kind of, they're a little bit glossy and they're a little bit heavier weight, I think they're just perfect for this kind of focal point on tags and that kind of stuff. So that is how I'm going to be using them. I've had them in my stash for a while, and I want to start using up my stuff. So again, just going around and distressing everything, and then I'm just going to lay this butterfly right over the top. Now, I don't typically put like focal images right in the center, but they're just so striking with the colors and everything. It's kind of hard to see because I'm filming and it's rainy and cloudy. But I ended up really just liking it kind of right smack down in the middle, which is unusual for me. Usually I'm kind of one side or the other, but this also gives me a little bit of room that if down the road I want to add a label or something when I'm actually putting this in a journal, I'll be able to do that and kind of tie it into the journal that I'm creating. So I'm going to go through, I have these other pieces that I have pulled out that I'm just kind of going to do a little bit of an assembly line kind of mass make situation here with these. And these are all going to be pockets. I'm going to go through, I'm going to round all the corners. I've already pulled out a piece of ephemera for each one that I think is going to fit on there. I'm going to go through and do the thumb notch with my hole punch. You could use anything really, even a wider hole punch would be fine too if you wanted a more shallow kind of thumb notch on there. And that one was a little off-centered, so I just kind of nudged it over. This section here has like some script on the back, and it has some music along the bottom, so I'm going to play into that a little bit as well. But whenever I'm doing a bunch of these, I'm just going to try to simplify the process as much as possible. So I have decided which of these ephemera pieces is going to go on which card. You can see I rounded the corners as well. So this top section, this one with the big yellow butterfly, that is just a bigger piece in general. So I'm going to go ahead and put some music paper on the back that was just sitting off on my desk. And then this one down here that I'm working on now has one of those labels from Days Gone By kit that I showed at the beginning. And I'm trying to decide how I want that. I'm going to set that off to the side while I work on this other one. I really love this arrangement of flowers, and it's really kind of hard to tell on this craft paper, but the background of this has like a greenish blue kind of floral in there, so it works with this particular image. So I just glued that down. I swapped out that label for something that was blank, because again, down the road I can put a word in there or a sentiment or whatever I want to. And then on this one I added the little 56 on there, and then this one I'm going to add, I just had added that music paper from a hymnal on the back of that one. And I will do some close-up shots at the end if this is going by a little bit too quickly for you to kind of see what they end up looking like. So this one was one that it just was sitting on my desk and kind of calling to me. I had just kind of very much isolated this bird. There were some other images and stuff around it on that paper that I wasn't really crazy about, but I really liked this bird. So I'm just going to make kind of a wide tag that you can use for journaling or whatever. And I'm trying to keep most of the decoration for this pretty simple. So I found this one label. I'm actually going to trim it down just a little bit more. It's really meant to be the rectangle background, but I'm going to actually trim out the label shape just to make it just a little bit smaller. And it's still a little bit bright for what I have going on in the background. So I'm just going to use my Distress archival ink here and kind of darken up this label just a little bit. I'm going obviously around and distressing the edge, but I'm also going up into the label a little bit as well, just to kind of knock back some of the brightness of that label. I'm going to glue it right here in this kind of open area down here on the bottom, and that really is going to be it. At some point, when I put this into a journal, I may add something to the top, like some fabric or like a pull or something, but I will wait to do that until I've decided exactly how I want to do that. The next piece was this one that I cut. It was kind of an offcut, and it had a bunch of different fonts, some script and some printing and different things, but it was just a little bit too tall for the kind of journals that I typically do in terms of size. So I'm going to trim this down just a little bit here and just make it a little bit smaller. It was, I think, like 8 inches, which is, I don't really typically do journals quite that tall. And then I have this craft color doily that is a pretty large doily, and I just want to add a little bit of it. And I did not even distress the edge of that because I want it to really kind of blend in with that background that's back there. And then I'm just going to rehearse a few of these pieces. These are those Tim Holtz pieces, the layers, the botanical set, and just trying to decide what I like most. So I pulled out a bunch of different things. I have some of the labels from Days Gone By, and then I have some of the botanical pieces from Tim Holtz. Those are basically the two things that I'm using for all of these pieces that we're creating today. So I love these roses that were kind of set in the corner, and then I'm just going to tuck this label sort of down back behind there, and then I'm leaving myself just enough room down at the bottom that if I want to add something down there, I can. I may come back in. I thought about adding some lace or something down across the bottom, but I wasn't sold on that quite yet. So, but if I want to do that, I left myself a little bit of space to be able to do that. And then I have this beautiful piece. This is probably one of my favorites in terms of the offcut from the paper pad. And it's kind of hard to tell, but there's like some script in the background, and then this kind of greenish floral. And then I had this piece of paper. This was from House of Books, a vintage page. And when I was cleaning off one of my stencils one time from by the well, I had a bunch of texture paste left over. And so I just grabbed one of those pages and put some of that texture paste on top of there. It's a great way to kind of use up your excess things, is like on old vintage papers. Just gives you something interesting to kind of work with, and it's the perfect color to go with this background. So and I just love how this looked when I tore it down. So because you can kind of see in the background there's the text from the book page, and then in the background of the craft there's some script in there. And at least for me, I just really like how this one came together a lot. So I did distress the edge of this and then glued it down. I'm going to go ahead and distress all the way around, and then I want to add just a little bit of something down here at the bottom. So I'm adding a little bit of lace trim. This is just from Hobby Lobby. And then I have this label that kind of, it's hard to tell again on camera, but that has like a little bluish tinge to it. And so I'm going to glue down the lace, and then I'm going to glue down this label, which is actually a little bit big for this particular card, but I'm just going to glue it off so it's like hanging off the side a little bit, and then trim it down. I personally like things when they're hanging off the side. That's, like I said, I don't typically put things like straight in the middle as in terms of focal points. I just think things look better when they're hanging off the edge, and your eye kind of fills in what's hanging off anyway. So I just like that look. But here are some close-up shots. I did go around with my sewing machine and sew around each one of these. I will include a few more close-ups so you can kind of see how this looks. If you liked this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and until next time, bye.